So this is a really interesting topic we're going to talk about here. Everybody is talking about a meme that goes, marry the house, date the rate. And I know this is all over Instagram, and it's all over TikTok, and it's all over YouTube, but there's some fundamental flaws to this way of thinking. If the market continues to run flat or go up, it may be okay, because you can always refi the property later into a lower rate whenever the rates go down. The problem is we're entering into a recession, and we're only at the very, very, very beginning. So by telling people you should just buy a house and refi later, the risks of the market turning down are much, much higher. And let me explain. If you were to buy a $2 million house right now at a rate of 7.5%, your mortgage would be $1.6 million with the typical 20% down. So in 2 years' time, if rates were to come down, or even 2 to 3 years' time if rates were to come down, and the market has adjusted, which every economic expert believes it's going to do based on the past 50 years of history. If the market adjusts over the next couple of years, even if it adjusts 20 or 25%, which is a very high likelihood, what will happen is your appraised value, when you go to refi, when rates come back down again, if they do in the short to medium term, your appraised value will now be, hypothetically, if it's 20% or 25%, between 1.5 and 1.6. But your loan, the balance of your loan, will be around the same price. You can't borrow 100% of the value of your home. You can only borrow 80% if you want the best rate, 85% if you want a slightly higher rate. So your loan, your max loan, if you're going to refi in a few years, if the market comes down, will only be 1.2 million or so. So what happens to that $300,000 margin between your current balance and your refiable amount of money? You've got to make that up. So fundamentally, unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank to make up the difference between what your existing mortgage balance will be and the amount you could borrow based on the revised appraised value at the time when you refi, I mean, it won't work. Fundamentally, it won't work for most people. Not everybody, for most people. Sometimes you could borrow money, you could do a whole bunch of different things, and you could find that extra few $100,000, but at the end of the day, you will need the few $100,000. So I'm telling you, really think about your situation when it comes down to things like marry the house, date the rate. Because as I said, for most people, it could result in much bigger problems down the road. Hope this helps.